My name is Catherine Jones, and I'm principal at Prescott South Elementary School, located in Cookeville, Tennessee. We are currently a Tennessee STEM designated elementary school, and my goal today is to try to help you work through the STEM designation process using the TSIN STEM designation rubric. I'm going to go through the application process fairly briefly, just as an overview, and then we'll go through the individual parts a little closer look. The application process includes 6 steps. The first step is that the school performs a self-evaluation using the STEM self-evaluation rubric provided at tsin.org. Step 2, a representative from the TSIN will contact the school to have an initial conversation, and they will provide some feedback. The school will adjust their application, that's step 3, based on the recommendations given by TSIN. And it's nice to have that before you complete the full application. Step 4 is that the school will complete the full online application portfolio by the application due date. Step 5, the schools that progress will receive a site visit from the STEM or STEAM designation review team. And then upon completion of the site visits, the designation review team compares the application to the site visit evidence, and then they notify the schools who receives designation. And even if a school doesn't receive designation, they receive feedback that will help them improve their program. So if you don't receive designation the first time, use that feedback to improve the program. We're going to go through the steps of the designation rubric now, and I'm going to try to emphasize certain parts. So normally, whenever I present to a live audience and we're able to interact and ask questions. But because of the nature of today's recorded session, what I ask you do is that you pause the recording and take notes or have discussions with your team. And that would be the embedded part that would engage you. So let's say you're interested in designation. What you want to do is you thoroughly read and understand the purpose for STEM designation before you decide to begin the process. This is not a trophy for winning a tournament. This is recognition that you are on the right path and in the middle of your journey. So the steps are that you'll do a self-assessment, you'll submit the application, you'll have a school site visit, and then the end is the announcement of the STEM designated schools. So let's say you talk with your team, they say, yep, we're on board, we want to do this. So you are ready to continue this process. Get ready to roll up your sleeves. It's time for the self-assessment. This is an involved process. So you want to develop what might be called a STEM leadership team. I recommend you ask for volunteers. It's a lot more fun to be excited and motivated about something and want to do it than to be told that, guess what, you're part of this team. So I would consider invitations or an open invitation and see who's interested, and that will speak volumes. And you want to involve lead teachers from across all areas of the school. You want to make sure administration is actively involved, and you may want to include community partners as appropriate. You want anyone with influence who can help support you through the process. Carefully read through the purpose for STEM designation. Designation is not a first place trophy, like what I said. It is recognition that a school is on an innovative path. Be careful not to view the designation as a means to an end. STEM includes an ever-changing and innovative culture. And once it's embedded, it's hard to stop that boulder from rolling. So you're going to use the self-assessment tool to reflect on current strengths and areas to strengthen. Begin the self-assessment with attribute 2. I recommend this because attribute 1 has a lot of parts that are embedded in attributes 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you'll start with 2 and work your way through 5, attribute 1 will, a lot of the work will be done for you. So attribute 2 is curriculum and instruction. You're aiming for the far right column, but the far left is a great place to start. We will address attribute 1 at the end. So think about attribute 2, curriculum and instruction. These are just some guiding questions. What are the school's strengths in this area? What are areas that might need improvement? So you can brainstorm ideas for implementation. You want to create a written action plan. I recommend that when you're trying to make changes, you start small and build, and then reflect on your progress. Also, you'll be glad that you have this documentation when you get to other parts of the rubric. So make sure that you have agendas, that you have meeting notes, and you have sign-in sheets to see who is there, because in 2 or 3 years, you may not remember where you started. And it's interesting and fun to watch the progress or to read about the progress. So what this is, it's the engineering design process cycle. So we're going to use PBLs as an example. PBLs are project-based or problem-based learning experiences. So our current PBLs taking place on your campus, how often are they taking place? At what grade levels are they taking place? What subjects are being integrated? And you might think of how could we include more subjects? What skills are being assessed? At what level, at what grade level, what grade level standards are included as a focus? And then what makes these experiences innovative? Try to think through those questions. Continue the self-assessment with attributes 2, 2, 3, and so on. You can use those questions or tweak the questions, but be honest with your answers and document them, because that's how you'll show your improvement. Also, don't forget to give your school grace. There are going to be areas that are in the rubric that you may not have in place at all. So you may be on the far left of the rubric when you start. There also may be places where you're in the far right column, and you want to make sure to go ahead and document that information. You don't need to spend a lot of time on improving something that is already in good shape. So a model STEM school was not built in a day. It wasn't built in a year, and it wasn't even built in a couple of years. A model STEM school has a lot of time involved in that progression, and you need to meet all the elements in the rubric in those far right 3 and 4 columns. So you made it through curriculum and instruction. Be sure to celebrate along the way. You want this to be a fun journey. So figure out ways that work for your team, that work for your school, your community, that make it fun along the way. If you have a community partner, you might ask them for a fun celebration. You might just figure, like if you're have a meeting scheduled, you come in, you give everybody a treat of some sort or a bonus, or teachers like flare pens, and you make it a 15-minute meeting and say, today's meeting is just simply to celebrate, and then you move on. Those are your decisions to make through the leadership team. So the next attribute is attribute 3, professional development. So all the growth from attribute 2 did not happen without some powerful professional development. Welcome to attribute 3. Because the team reviewed the rubric, there's a documented, focused professional development regarding inquiry-based learning. Teachers should be observing and are collaborating with peers to continuously improve PBL strategies. So as you were improving those areas in attribute 2, you probably said, hey, we need professional development in this area. How are we training teachers? What are we going to do? Reach out to your regional STEM hub for training, maybe TSIN training. So think through all of those experiences. Because of the hard work at improving attribute 2.2, teachers are collaborating to include those 21st century skills, and they are integrating career awareness into those original standards-based PBLs. Attribute 4 is the achievement rubric. Now, you might think, uh-oh, we're not a reward school. Well, don't let that discourage you. I have good news. So the achievement rubric includes effective teaching and assessment strategies. So these attributes are good teaching practices. You most likely have these in your building, or they will strengthen your teaching as you're improving attribute 4.1 and 4.2. They're important in all classrooms, whether or not teachers are implementing STEM. So this is an application to serve as a model STEM designated school. It's difficult to measure the effectiveness of STEM implementation, but when attributes 4.1 and 4.2 are in place, teachers are more effective, and the assessment data will provide evidence for that. Also, you'll want to document the evidence of 21st century skills. We'll talk a little bit more about those, but as you're implementing those strategies and as they become part of your school culture, you want to make sure that's evident in your, that's documented in your evidence. Community and post-secondary partnerships. This is attribute 5. So 5.1 focuses on partners from industry, institutes of higher education, and technical centers being involved with students' integrative experiences. These will vary depending on the community where you live, but keep in mind, these are really important experiences. This is a main purpose for STEM integration. Depending on the school system, the frequency of these experiences may vary. However, the focus is to make a connection to career with the focus of the PBL experience. Also, teachers can constantly reference careers through any lesson they're doing. It really gives purpose for learning, elementary, middle, or high school. When you connect lessons to careers, it provides additional real-world purpose. Attribute 5.2 extends attribute 5.1 to help illustrate a career experience versus a career guest speaker. Career experiences are where a community partner is more involved with the PBL or with whatever the experience is. If a Zoom guest speaker is fantastic to introduce a student to a career. However, having an engineer, an electrical engineer come in and build circuits with students, and the circuits help solve some sort of problem on campus, that is a post-secondary partnership. That is when you're involving the students in solving a problem. Attribute 5.3 is for high school only, but as I said, I'm an elementary principal, and this completes the pipeline for STEM. So we do what we do at our level, then they go to middle school. Hopefully they're integrating STEM at the middle school that your elementary feeds. We're fortunate, Prescott Middle School is a STEM designated school, but then they go to high school. So our goal is to prepare students for these experiences. And if you're a high school, attribute 5.3 is required. So the high school needs to have post-secondary EPSO plans in place, and they need to have at least 15 college credits available. That can be AP, IB, dual enrollment, various CTE certifications, but you want to make sure that those items are in place. Also, that there are partnerships with industry and higher education, that they collaborate with the school to continually elevate and improve course offerings and opportunities. Examples might also include having like a job fair day, having those certifications available through the CTE programs. All of those would be included in 5.3. High school courses are enhanced by technology-based teaching methodologies and opportunities to obtain certifications. That might be through a flipped class model, through blended learning, through MOOCs, but the high school experience, I'm going to say, is the final step for students before they enter the workforce. So whether they are going to use their certification and enter and begin their career as soon as they graduate, or if they're going to a technical school, 2-year post-secondary education, or a 4-year institution, et cetera, we want those opportunities in high school to prepare them for that post-secondary. So now that we've talked about 2, 3, 4, and 5, we're ready to talk about attribute 1, the infrastructure. Attributes 1.1 and 1.2 are the action and sustainability plan. So what is the plan? What is the continuous improvement plan? What if leadership changes? How will STEM practices continue? How will partnerships continue? I have some things to consider. The sustainability plan is probably part of the school improvement plan. So it will be revisited annually, and there's probably at least a 3-year plan, if not a 5-year plan in place to keep the vision for all this work. You call it work, but for all these experiences, you want them to continue. And then after you have the experience, generally you reflect and you think, how could we improve that? Or what could we include next time? And if it's a fail, then maybe what could we replace this with? This seems a little outdated. So you just have to continually think through what's effective, and if it's not effective, what could we do differently? If leadership changes, most likely the school would still have the partnerships in place. Generally, the partnerships don't happen with leadership, they happen with classroom teachers. So let's say the principal changes. Well, the classroom teachers already have all their implementation that they've been doing. So really it would be making sure that the new principal understood the culture of the building, and hopefully that would be included in their interview process. And then like I said, the partnerships, some partnerships may happen with leadership, but generally it's a community-based experience, and it's a community-based relationship, and hopefully those will continue. But you'll need to document that, like what do you have in place for continued growth and continued STEM practices. And then 1.3 is leadership professional development. How are leaders in the building experiencing professional development? And then how are they supporting others' professional development? If you're a model STEM school, then you should be helping others implement STEM practices. So how is your STEM leadership team? How are your teachers? How is the leadership at the school involved with the Tennessee STEM Innovation Network? How are they helping grow the network and encourage STEM? And how are they encouraging STEM integration? And then what active role is supporting STEM integration challenges? So how are we helping others understand the importance of STEM in the state? Attribute 1.4 is the school environment. Why is the school a STEM model school? What's different when you walk in the hallways, when you look in the classrooms? How are 21st century learning skills evident in the school's culture? That might be, evidence might be included through standards and assessments, through curriculum and instruction, professional development opportunities and experiences, the learning environments themselves, how they're set up, the collaboration that takes place in the classroom, how are they naming life and career skills and making sure students are having those experiences? How are students creating using technology? How are they using social media? How are they, like, in a positive way to show their learning? What technology skills have they developed? What computer science skills do they have? Are they critical thinkers? How are they communicating with others? Are they solving problems with original answers? Are they solving original problems with original answers and fresh ideas? All of these are included in this wonderful visual. This is also available at tsin.org. One 5 is the school schedule. So once again, these are proven best practices. So look at your school schedule and reflect on what has occurred in your building. Schedules allow for consistent teacher collaboration, or when does collaboration take place? Is there co-teaching happening? Is there integration of subjects? Do schedules allow ample time for projects? Do schedules allow time for teacher planning? And then those non-traditional experiences that make this an innovative campus. So we've gone through a lot. Closely review each step of the process for designation. Thoroughly read and understand the purpose for STEM designation before you begin the process. You have your self-assessment, that's very involved. The application, which is also very involved, but the self-assessment is really where all the work takes place. Then if the application is worthy, the school will receive a site visit. If not, the school will receive some feedback, areas to work on. And then finally, the announcement of the STEM designated schools. So you may think we have a long way to go. We need some help. Or we're in the middle of our road, but we want that continuous improvement. We're not sure where to look. Or you may be like, you know, we've been designated, we're ready for redesignation. You know, where could we look? Here are some ideas for you. So most likely, if you've been designated, you're aware of a lot of these experiences. But encourage your faculty to continue to participate with these. Visit other STEM designated schools and build relationships with those schools. Apply to participate with TSIN opportunities, the Innovative Leaders Institute, the Rural STEM Collaborative, the Manufacturing Externship, the MEEP. Attend the TSIN Summit. You can attend virtually like you are today or in person. Most importantly, enjoy your STEM journey. Make it fun. That's what makes it fun for the students. I know that I put Innovative Leaders Institute on here twice. I like it that much. I am happy to support your efforts, but I'm only one person and I'm a full-time principal. So there are a lot of TSIN employees and partners to help through your journey. Think in your region, who's close by, who's a principal you know, if you're interested. I've put my contact information here. I'm glad to help you. My email is here, the school phone number. You can direct message me through Twitter. My Twitter account, my personal account is Catherine PSES. The school account is PSES_pups. I post a lot through PSES pups to give schools ideas or to kind of show unique things that may be happening on our campus, or maybe things that are traditional things that are also happening on our campus. So know that. I recommend staying within your region as much as possible because it's affordable. If you're in Memphis and you're trying to connect with a school in Bristol, that I think a lot of that experience would be virtual, where if you're in Memphis and there's a designated school near you, then you could go visit that school and hopefully that would spark ideas for things that might make sense in your community. The same is true for Middle Tennessee. The same is true for East Tennessee. Of course, I'm a great think tank. Like I'd be glad to be a think tank partner. And I know there are plenty of other principals that feel the same way that work at a designated school. So I hope this has helped you better understand the STEM designation process. And if it's created more questions, please reach out. I want to encourage your journey. Thank you for your time today.